What about in Minnesota? Kirk Cousins blows out his ACL, or excuse me, his Achilles. What's the probability you think Kirk Cousins actually plays next season? Where do the Vikings go from here, man? Do you think they end up shutting down Justin Jefferson?
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
What about in Minnesota? Kirk Cousins blows out his ACL, or excuse me, his Achilles. He's what a brutal injury for Minnesota, man. But he's 36 years old next year. Okay, if he plays, most likely I would have to imagine this man starts this next season on the pup. Considering we're in week 8 and he blows out his Achilles. Again, remember, this is not Aaron Rodgers who blew it out 4 snaps into the game, right? This is now 2 months after that, right? So we would most likely see Kirk Cousins on the pup. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a doctor, but with the history of the Achilles.
Well, it depends on if he can get a handle, if he can get a hand on Rodgers' dolphin porn or sounds or whatever, because you've seen Rodgers. I mean, he's not like Rodgers is about ready to take the field or anything, but he's at least, like doing dropbacks and stuff, right? And throwing pre-game. Dude,
I'll believe it when I see it. What's the probability you think Kirk Cousins actually plays next season?
60% he plays next season. I mean,
that's where I'm at. I thought I was way low on him though. I think most everyone assumes he's going to play, like 99% he's going to play.
Wait, you mean like start week 1 or
no, actually plays in the NFL.
Oh, like 100%. He plays in the NFL for sure. I mean, dude, he is the king of getting the bag. He's going to get the bag like crazy this year. I don't care if he's got an Achilles injury. There's still so many teams that would be willing to sign him. By the way, I think the Vikings would be really willing to work out a deal with Kirk Cousins. Man, they love Kirk Cousins. I said this a lot in the offseason. I do think that last season was sneakily one of his best years, even though it wasn't the same production and from an efficiency standpoint, it wasn't there. They're asking him to do a lot in that offense. Right. And they were asking him to do a lot this year. And then he starts, I think once he started stacking good games, and obviously beating the 49ers on Monday Night Football, but stacking good games without Justin Jefferson, that was oh wow, maybe Kirk is really I think people are starting to figure out Kirk is doing a lot for this Vikings offense. And Kevin O'Connell clearly loves coaching him, clearly loves the way he runs his offense. I think O'Connell is kind of almost underrated as an offensive play caller and offensive designer. I really like what they do in Minnesota. And I think Kirk is just the perfect trigger man for it. I thought we were trending towards all of this talk about, are they going to trade Kirk Cousins at the deadline before he walks in free agency and they get nothing for him? I'm I think they probably want to bring back Kirk Cousins. How much better are they going to do than damn Kirk Cousins? I don't know if the injury throws off the timeline, because they could really go into the tank now and then end up with a top 5 draft pick. And maybe you're just at that point trying to start over.
In terms of where he plays, where would you like to see him play? Where do you think he ends up? I mean, there's always been those rumors that, Kyle Shanahan, who coached him in Washington, maybe he goes to San Francisco, but Brock Purdy's there. And although he's been struggling in the last few games too, right? So Kirk Cousins, where do you think he ends up? What's a good fit for him?
Yeah, I don't really get the San Francisco thing, because I think Purdy is, he's thrown some interceptions the last couple of weeks, but otherwise I think he's actually kind of played really well. I think I enjoyed watching him in that Bengals game, other than the turnovers. And I don't want to sit here and yada yada quarterback's turnover issue, but it was he was living on the right side of variance and luck to start this year, and now he's on the other side of it. So I think he could end up being fine. Obviously, I think Atlanta is going to be sort of the spot I want to see almost any. Yeah, I know, but any sort of competent quarterback go to. I mean, dude, we got Taylor Heineke for a couple of moments, in the second half this past week. Taylor Heineke is Taylor Heineke. I think I think Kirk Cousins would obviously be a much bigger upgrade there, but he'll probably end up in New England or some nonsense like that, as Bill Belichick tries to make a late push to get the wins record or whatever. That'll probably what happens.
All right, where do the Vikings go from here, man? Do you think they end up shutting down Justin Jefferson too? Again, as you mentioned, it's a very deep quarterback class. I think they would be smart, to be honest with you, to just tank it up and secure a really, really high draft pick if they don't get, Drake May or if Caleb Williams goes number 1 overall. Could Minnesota sneak in there and grab a Drake? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a deep quarterback class where, if you get a top 5 pick, you're in pretty good shape to find a potential franchise quarterback.
Yes, I do think there's like a clear 1-2, and I think you could put Drake May and Caleb Williams in any order there. They're such an interesting team because they've talked about this like competitive rebuild, right? And then they won way too many games than they should have last year. Like they just lived on the hot side of variance, and then this year they kind of came back to the pack, but then they started to win more games, and they're just in a weird spot as a team, man. It's really hard to project where they'll be like a year from now.
Right. I just find it interesting in regards to Justin Jefferson because the team does have an interesting case either way to either shut him down or just bring him back as soon as possible.
And James, he has an interesting case too, because it's not a secret that he's upset about the fact that he didn't get like a mega contract extension coming into this year. I mean, when Schefter puts out the whole, like, I don't know, maybe he could sit, like, Schefter doesn't just make, like, doesn't have a thought and let me tweet that out. Obviously someone said that to him. So he has a case on it as well.
Yeah, no, and that's the whole point, right? So like, I just wonder what happens with Justin Jefferson and this Minnesota Vikings team moving forward. Last note I just want to make on Kirk Cousins, because this is truly incredible, but he is going now on 6 consecutive fully guaranteed years. And I feel like that's gone under the radar because everyone, when they talk about guaranteed contracts, they don't bring up Kirk Cousins anymore. They bring up Deshaun Watson. But Kirk Cousins signed a fully guaranteed 3-year deal. Then he signed a fully guaranteed 2-year deal. Then he signed a fully guaranteed 1-year deal. As Adam Schefter reported this offseason, he has made $231 million over his career, Kirk Cousins has. 99% of it has been fully guaranteed. He's the absolute king of the finessers, man. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, I mean, again, listen, all due respect to Kirk Cousins, okay? Like, you talk about the Kirk-assance or whatever it might be. Totally agree with you in that regard, But 99% of his $231 million fully guaranteed? Yo, that is some serious bag work right there from Kirk Cousins, dude.
That's what I'm saying, dog. You think he's not playing next year? No way.